With our weekly Cutco through college spotlight. And today we have the honor of having Mr. Bernie Maslin, the sales manager for the Lower Westchester team, which has been one of our new offices since they've opened up last year for the summer. And I know Bernie's been a big reason for a lot of success they've been having. So Bernie, to kind of start off, can you just give a little bit of your background, a little bit of your history with us?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Winter. I really appreciate it. But for those of you guys who don't know me on the spotlight right now, so I am from Long Island. I went to private Jewish school and then headed over to Queens College. And right now I'm on a pre-med track at Queens College, planning to go to medical school afterwards. And I started with Vector about a year ago now, about just under a year ago. And I sold about 10K in my first month. It was a ton of fun. I got promoted to assistant manager about a month or two in, and then I was promoted to sales manager about 3 or 4 months later. And I'm in that position, since then through now. And it's just been, it's been an awesome time. And I'm really lucky that I get to meet people like Aaron. So thank you for having me today.
My pleasure, Bernie. And, thank you for taking the time out of your day to carve out of this, be able to tell people your story and, give people some inspiration as well. So to kind of start up here, Bernie, I'm just going to ask you, some quick questions here. By the way, if any of you guys watching, feel free to drop comments, hit that like button, that heart button for Mr. Maslin. I definitely know he would appreciate that. But Bernie, just kind of start up. You've been here for over a year now. I think you just had your year anniversaries coming up pretty soon, or already passed. But what's been your favorite part about the job since you started working with us last summer?
Yeah. So my favorite part about the job is definitely the connections that I'm able to build here. It's funny because I was talking with Aaron about it right before we hopped on, but the connections that I get to build here and, with this company and with the teams that we have is really unparalleled. I've never been in an environment with, so many people who just strive to grow at every situation and every stage in life. And what's great about that is, being in that environment with people that just are so fun and you're looking to grow, it just naturally drives you forward and makes you want to be that better version of yourself. So it's definitely the connections, and I'm able to pick the brains of some of the top people in our company, some of the smartest people I've ever met, and it really has allowed me to take a lot of those tips, take a lot of those discussions that I had, and start applying them into my own life. And so I really appreciate that, and that's definitely one of the biggest things that I really love about working with us.
Awesome. I love that answer, by the way, Bernie. And I know I always teach people on my team, especially, like, you are who you surround yourself with, and that circle of influence is really important. And then obviously, Bernie, you're working with Dillon Foley. He's been one of our top managers since they've opened up last summer. You've been a huge reason for their success. Can you kind of just describe a little bit of your relationship with Mr. Foley?
Yeah, of course. So it's actually really funny. Dillon will actually tell you that not a single day has gone by since we started that we haven't been on the phone. And that is actually true. So it's almost been about 365 days of that. So if he doesn't get driven crazy soon, I don't know what will. But it's really just also one of the biggest perks of the job. Having Dillon as my manager is something that I really feel lucky to have. He's someone that, who I get to work with on a day-to-day basis and pick his brain, but also just get to watch him go through his day-to-day and see what he does that makes him so successful, not just in this job, but outside this job. The way that he communicates with people, the way that, he treats me and he treats the other team members on our team. And it's something that I look to set, I guess, to exemplify, I guess. And I look to, start implementing it in my own life. And I do so on a day-to-day basis. And it's really just a constant strive for growth when I'm with him. And, I could say a ton of great things about Dillon, but it's overall just, I'm really lucky that I'm in the place that I'm in with him, and that he constantly pushes me and doesn't let me settle for where I'm at right now, but always tells me to, step outside my comfort zone and take that next step towards a more ideal version of myself. So, I built a really good relationship with him over the past year, and it's really allowed me to, become that better version of myself that I keep saying. So
awesome. Yeah. That circle of influence and everything that we were just talking about. And that's something that I know, like, when I started in the business, Mr. Premed, who you obviously know, been kind of like one of my mentors, closest friends. It seems like you guys are developing a very similar relationship, and it's pretty cool. You guys have been able to build down in the Lower Westchester team. And then my next question for you, Bernie, is how do you think the leadership training that you've been through over the last 12 months or so has really impacted your life moving forward?
Gotcha. That's a great question. So I had some previous leadership positions. I was a captain of my high school hockey team way back when. I was a head lifeguard at a beach club in Long Island. And so I had a little bit of experience in, being a leader and setting an example for other people. But, you know, I, I never thought it would be something, like the leadership position that I'm able to have, here in Vector. The amount of growth that they promote in leadership positions, the amount of um, not even help, the amount of times that I've had, talks with my managers or some other top managers in the company that helped me out during Leadership Academy, to help myself grow personally, professionally, financially, inside the business, outside the business. Like really the biggest thing about that leadership position is that it really, it's going to help me out while I'm in this job. And, I hope to go branch manager this next summer and, start kicking ass over there. But what I really like about it is that these are things that I'm going to be taking with me for the rest of my life. And if one day I'm helping run a company, I'm going to have all the skills that I learned here at Vector, and I'm going to be able to apply all of that. And what's also really cool is that I get to be that I get to be a little bit on the spectrum between friend and boss. Something that I've really loved dipping my toe into. And it's just really cool having that dynamic with a lot of the team members on the team, considering that they're also students, and being able to strike that balance with each and every one of them. It just been, it allowed me to build some really strong and really good relationships that have not only helped me, grow myself, but I've been able to help other people grow in that also. So needless to say, the leadership positions here at Vector were unparalleled to any I had before, and I'm really grateful for them.
And just so you guys don't know, branch managers are our internship program for students where they get the opportunity to run their own office, build their own sales team. Very similar to what he's doing with Mr. Foley right now on the Lower Westchester team. So kind of expanding on that question there a little bit, Bernie. Obviously, like it seems like the leadership training has really impacted you for your life. So what are some skills that you think you've developed over the last year that a lot of your peer group are that you're starting to notice really lacks?
Yeah. So a little bit of what I mentioned just before is that balance between I get to almost be friends with the people that are on my team and the representatives that I help manage, and but I also get I'm also their boss and I help drive them forward. And I think that skill of being able to strike that balance with anyone that you're working with for the rest of your life, I think that's a very unique skill that really can't be taught in. I don't really know of any other situation where you could really be taught that. So I'm, obviously I'm really grateful for that. But some of the other skills that, I really feel help me for the rest of my life are also the communication skills that I developed through the leadership program. I know that there are communication skills that I developed through the sales job itself. I still am able to have those personal, those personal sales throughout my week to week. But I think that, in the leadership position that I'm in, where I get to talk to so many different people, whether it's the customers that I get on the phone with, and then it's the representatives that are on our team, or, maybe interviews that I get to run. It's like I guess a bunch of different hats that I get to put on. And that idea of, being able to adapt to whatever situation that you're in is definitely, one of the biggest skills that I've gotten out of that as well.
Cool. Awesome. I appreciate that, Bernie. And then starting to get some of the funner questions here. What are you feel like some of your most fun and unique experiences that you had working with us so far?
Gotcha. So I actually have a really funny story. So the first trip that I ever won, actually I lied. I won the Cabo trip the first time, but it didn't end up happening because of the coronavirus. But I ended up winning an iPad for free anyway. Thank you, Uncle Vector. But otherwise, I also won the trip to Miami back in March. So I worked my tail off back in winter break to help myself win it. And when I went, I've never stayed at a 4 or 5 star hotel before in my life. So when I showed up there, it was unlike any other experience. I was staying in like the nicest room I've ever seen. It was really cool. And the idea that I was going there for free because the company like just paid for the expenses, it was unlike any other experience that I've ever had in my entire life. The only funny part about that, like I was saying before, is that I ended up losing my phone and wallet on the beach. It couldn't have been too perfect of a trip, but it ended up okay. And I really couldn't have asked for a better experience than that. But I'd say also, besides for that experience that I had in Miami with those, that crew of just fun, amazing individuals, is also the conferences that we have. We have them about like 2 to 3 times a year. And I was lucky enough to catch the first one when I first started out about a year ago. And I was able to catch the other two that came after that. And at those conferences, divisional managers, people that are in charge of, entire states and things like that, that just set the example of, how to be and I keep saying it, but that better version of yourself, and as a student and for when you're done with school. And I've just learned a ton from people like Mr. Trembler, Mr. Premed, Mr. Wasserman, a lot of those people that, have created a lot of success for, hundreds, if not thousands of people already in their careers. So I really just, I have like lists and lists of notes from those conferences that I know I use in my every single day-to-day life, whether it's, stuff that has to do with the company, outside the company, even financials. I really just appreciate those conferences, and I look forward to them every single time they happen. I know we have one coming up soon, so I'm really high for that.
Cool. Yeah, and then just so you guys know, we do two type of those incentive trips every year. As I mentioned, Bernie won the one over winter break to Miami. We also do one over the summer, where I know he's excited to be able to win a trip to Punta Cana. It's pretty much locking that in the bag. I cannot wait to. By the way, like for those of you guys that have been working virtually over the last year, like that was the first time I actually got to meet Bernie in person. Such a cool experience. You know somebody for 6 to 8 months, and like, wow, I finally get to see you actually in the flesh. A little bit of a cooler experience to be able to do on there. And then the last couple of questions I'll ask you here, Bernie. This one's a little bit of a fun one. What was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon growing up?
Gotcha. So favorite Saturday morning cartoon. So unfortunately, because for all my Jewish fans out there, I'm like really Jewish. So we got the Sabbath on Saturday, but I would say Sunday morning was when I used to just fire away at SpongeBob. I think it was like 9:00 a.m. every Sunday, and SpongeBob was the go-to no matter what.
Awesome. Love it, man. And then my last question is we start to finish up here, Bernie. So I remember you obviously started right around this time last year. You started in a very weird environment. Like, it's all virtual, like things were just kind of flipped up on their head with the coronavirus and everything that was going on. And there's probably some people that are going to watch this or watching now that have maybe thought about doing a sales job or trying to do a remote type of position. So what were some of your thoughts going into the job when you first started? And what would be some words of advice to people who are thinking about taking that first step?
Gotcha. I really appreciate that question. As it definitely meant a lot to me because, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't, if I didn't end up taking the job. Way back when I was working the lifeguarding job 9 to 5 every single day, and frankly, I wasn't really satisfied with the amount of money I was making. Something that I really love about this job is that if I work twice as hard as someone else, they're gonna pay me twice as much. But at my hourly job, that wasn't the case. And here, if I work twice as hard, I'm twice as good. It's 4 times as much. So, it's even better. And before I even knew about that, just the thought of that extra, I think it was $17 per appointment when I first started. That's what really attracted me to the job at the first place. And then I got into the interview, and it blew me away because it was so much more than just $17 per appointment. But other than that, I would say that at least when I was going through that process, I wanted to just pick up extra hours. I wanted to make some extra cash, and I had applied to Uber, and I got a text from Uber actually a couple of weeks ago, saying that my application wasn't filled out finally, and that was because that same week I got a text from Dillon Foley about the job, because my friend Jacob ended up referring me to the job. So didn't end up filling out that application, ended up applying to this job, and obviously I'm really happy for where I ended up. And so what I would say is definitely keep an open mind. Whether you're working a job or you're not already right now, or you're taking summer classes, I would say keep an open mind. A lot of these jobs, especially the one here at Vector, it's super flexible. We're pretty much all students, so we get what it's like to have a busy schedule as well. And if you're looking to make some extra cash, if you're looking to grow yourself personally, professionally, and financially, there's really not a better place than right here. And if you're looking at all to take that next step, I would say keep an open mind. Take that next step to whatever it is, and make that more informed decision for yourself. Check it out, see how it goes with your schedule that you have right now. And that's really what I did. I was kind of dipping my toe into it, and I realized that after I was working 3 hours. It was funny. I was working 8 hours at a lifeguarding job, and then I was spending 3 hours at my job here at Vector. And I was starting to make more money in that 3 hours than I was in that 8 hours. And once I found that out, I just quit. I hope my manager's not watching this. But so I mean, I would say that give it a shot. Something that I really liked is that I really didn't know what I was stumbling upon. So anyone that's watching this, you really don't know what you stumbled upon too. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome, Bernie. And so again, for those guys watching, maybe a little like nervous, start a virtual job, and just do what Bernie just recommend. Keep an open mind. Just put your best foot forward. By the way, gang, you guys may have seen on the ticker on the bottom, we have locations open all over the country, but obviously here in Connecticut, feel free to apply at ctstudentwork.com. Obviously, for those of you guys that know Bernie down in the New York location, we're also taking applications at New York, NewYorkStudentWork.com. I just want to get the website. So NewYorkStudentWork.com. You guys can apply there. Manager will reach out to you. We'll be able to get you set up for an interview to go through the application process, very similar to what happened with Bernie last summer. And just a little shameless plug here. Feel free to follow me on IG at Aaron Winter Official. Follow Bernie on IG at BE Maslin. And again, thank you, Bernie, so much for your time today, your words of wisdom and inspiring advice that you've given to the young adults that are watching this today. Look forward to seeing more success coming your way for the Lower Westchester team, and I cannot wait to hang out again in Punta Cana in October. So I will see you, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And that's it. Won't stop. Won't stop. Oops. All right, it's not stopping. I'm just going to exit out of this so it doesn't keep going. But thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right, I'll see you.